I have the same problem. I mean, I used to be able to read for 4 hours straight.
Same.
So how much of that is due to social media? Like our brains just changing.
I think that's in large part due to social media and a number of other things that just hijack our dopamine.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of other factors too. It's like depends on your nutrition and your sleep and, you know, a bunch of other factors that are helping with your brain chemistry. So I think that there's there's not just one thing. You can't just blame it on social media, even though that's a big culprit. I think there's dozens and dozens of reasons that people have shorter attention spans and why, in my opinion, everyone has ADD. It's more of a spectrum. I think humans in general just don't have an easy time focusing on shit you're not that interested in.
Yeah.
And it just manifests as more severe degrees in certain people and lesser degrees in other people. But it's not like a black and white thing. Like you have this attention deficit disorder or you don't. I think we all have it. It's called the human mind.
Yeah.
Some people are able to combat it and overcome it in certain instances, like conventional school system. But I don't think it's the diagnosis black or white thing people have made it out to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I definitely find, I mean, yeah, it's all that stuff, right? When I don't sleep well, I can't read as well. When I don't, whatever. But I definitely notice the social media when on days where I use it more. Yeah. Like in that period of time, like there'll be phases of my life where for a month or two I'll just be on TikTok. TikTok's the worst.
I think it's just phones in general, right? Because
In
there's so
general,
much information, whether it's social
Yeah.
media or the internet or emails or whatever. Like you're just jumping around all over the place all the time because you can. And then when you go back to an old-fashioned book, I used to be able to read a ton in a book, and now I struggle with it. Because of that reason.
And Netflix and all other sorts of
everything's
just
quick.
Different, forms of entertainment that have changed the game for people.
Yeah, and do you have kids?
Not yet.
All right, so I got young kids, right? And they watch YouTube more than I would like them to, right? But it's just they watch their YouTube Kids app. And I'm getting judged by a lot of people right now. They're like, you let your kids watch YouTube. But it's a problem, right? I try to limit it. But here's the point, is watching some of the videos that they watch. Like they are being trained at 2 years old, 3 years old to need that quick movement. Like the way that I mean, one of the most popular series like on YouTube Kids is like these like little kids and their parents do like some play acting, whatever the store. But the kids continually have to be, first of all, the camera changes every second or faster, right? So the camera never stays on any scene for more than a second. And then every scene has to be moving. So the kid can't talk like, hey mom, I want to go to the store. They have to go, hey mom, I want to go to the store. And they push their hands back and forth for no reason other than because kids need that like movement up and down. The bright all the shirts have to be bright colors.
It's all very calculated.
It's all so calculated. And there's a reason that those videos have like hundreds of billions of views. Like, I mean, just ridiculous numbers because my kids will watch them on repeat. And I'm like, what are we doing to our kids? Like, we're like, we think it's bad for us right now. We're like, oh, TikTok, like it's nothing compared to what YouTube Kids is doing to kids. Yeah,
totally.
So I keep getting these like, I'm not gonna let my kids watch anything, and it's like, a week goes by and they're like freaking out, and I just need time to jump on a call, and I'm like, all right, just watch something for now. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we're off that bandwagon.
I'm talking just like this the rest of the show. Just to boost ratings.
I gotta show you one of those videos later. They're just like, hey, Jamie, pull it up. No.
It's interesting though, because I have a different philosophy than most on social media. In that, like, it gets villainized a lot, but it's just a tool, and people are misusing the tool.
Sure.
Like, there are a few things that I can think of that are as like entertaining per minute of viewership than TikTok and Instagram. Like, there's a reason people are addicted to it. There's a reason people use it. It's freaking awesome. It's awesome. Like, it's hilarious. You can have a very high degree of entertainment, but when you abuse it and you just get reckless and you're spending hours and hours a day, and to your point, like your kids are overusing it. And watching mindless shit, or watching stuff that you just compare people to yourself, and then you get down. Like, that's the misuse of social media. But the beautiful thing is, you can share information to millions in seconds. You can absorb really useful information in a very efficient way. Like, you don't have to read a 5-hour book. I'm sure there's a TikTok distilling all the main principles in a 60-second video that you would get a lot of the same takeaways. I think that's freaking awesome.
And they could have GPT do the same thing. Like, summarize this book. And
exactly. And so I think there's a lot of like use cases where I'm like, social media is pretty rad. Yeah. And it's coming from someone that tries to stay off social media, and I have a separate phone, like an old phone that I don't use anymore, that has my social media app, so I can't use it on my normal phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's another thing that I found super helpful, because then it's just not, the temptation isn't there, and you have to be a lot more intentional about using it, because you're like, well, I got to go get this other phone, and it only works if I have Wi-Fi because there's no SIM card in there. So it just makes it a little bit, I call it my media phone. So I use it to like post and to do stuff, and then I'll end up scrolling. Like, I'm human. I'm not perfect with this stuff. But
and it's fun. Like you said, it's it's actually entertaining. I'd rather do that than watch a movie.
There's times where I will scroll for 20 or 30 minutes.
Yep.
I don't regret it at all. I had a wonderful time. Yep. I learned a lot. I saw some cool shit I would have never otherwise seen. Yep. I watched like these adventure sport videos of this guy's doing this crazy stuff. I'm just like blown away and in awe and inspired by. I watched like it could be really educational as well. Yeah. And I think that's, gets missed in the conversation of like, rather than just say social media sucks, don't let people use it, avoid it. It's kind of like this whole like sex ed conversation, like just don't have sex. Yeah. Just don't have sex. Then that's the answer. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, is that the answer? Yeah. Same with social media. Like, rather than just telling people how bad it is for them, like, why don't we create ways of teaching kids and teaching humans in general how to use it rather than abuse it? And I think there would be a lot of good outcomes from that.